You just got paid. Your account has never looked better. You feel unstoppable. You go out for dinner. You buy that thing you've been waiting for. You treat yourself because you deserve it. And then you check your balance. 3 days later, and somehow it's almost gone. Sound familiar? This happens to almost everyone. And it's not because you're bad with money. It's because your brain was never designed to handle a paycheck. Here's what's actually happening inside your mind. Moment money hits your account, your brain registers the large number and immediately releases a wave of dopamine, the same chemical released when you win something or receive good news. That dopamine hit makes you feel wealthy, safe, powerful, even if that money was already spoken for by rent, bills, and groceries before it even arrived. Your brain doesn't see obligations. It only sees the number. And that number feels like freedom. It feels like possibility. It feels like all your problems are temporarily solved. And in that moment, your spending filters completely disappear. Psychologists call this the wealth illusion. It's the gap between what your account shows and what you can actually afford to spend. And it's not a character flaw. It's neuroscience. Studies show that people consistently overestimate their financial position in the 48 hours. After receiving income, their confidence spikes, their spending filters drop, and the decisions they make in those 48 hours are statistically worse than decisions made at any other point in the month. Payday is literally the worst time to make financial decisions, and it's the exact moment most people make the most of them. The worst part is that you don't even feel like you're making bad decisions. Every purchase feels completely justified. Every expense feels manageable because your brain is running on dopamine, and the number in your account feels like proof that everything is fine. Companies know this. Retailers track payday cycles and deliberately send promotions and discount emails on payday and the day after. Fast food chains report their highest sales of the month in the 24 hours following common payday dates. Subscription services time their renewal emails to land right when your account looks fullest. Online stores push their biggest sales events to align with when most people receive their income. They are not doing this by accident. They have studied your brain more carefully than you have. They have entire teams of behavioral economists and psychologists whose only job is to figure out exactly when you are most vulnerable and then hit you with an offer at precisely that moment. And they are using that knowledge against you every single month without you even noticing. But the wealth illusion isn't the only thing working against you. There's a second force called mental accounting, and it makes the problem even worse. Mental accounting is your brain's tendency to treat money differently, depending on where it came from or how it arrived. Money that comes in as a large lump sum, like a paycheck, feels different from money you earned gradually. It feels less real, easier to spend. Your brain unconsciously categorizes it as new money and applies looser spending rules to it. This is why people spend bonuses and tax refunds faster than regular income, even when the amount is identical. The source changes how the brain values it. $100 that arrived as a surprise bonus gets spent in one afternoon. $100 saved over 2 weeks from cutting expenses feels precious and untouchable. Same money, completely different emotional value in your brain. There is also something called the fresh start effect that makes payday even more dangerous. Every payday feels like a reset, a new beginning. The financial mistakes of the previous month feel distant and irrelevant because the account looks full again. This psychological reset makes people more optimistic and more willing to take financial risks. It feels like a second chance. But without changing the underlying behavior, the fresh start effect just resets the cycle, and 3 weeks later, you are exactly where you were before. The calendar changes, the paycheck arrives, the illusion begins again. Most people will repeat this cycle their entire lives without ever understanding why it keeps happening. Not because they are irresponsible, but because no one ever explained to them that their brain was running a program designed for scarcity, not for monthly salary deposits into a digital account. And then there's a third layer: social pressure. Payday has a social dimension that nobody talks about. When your friends know it's payday, there are dinners to go to. Alex got the call on a Tuesday afternoon in March. After 3 years of 6 zero-hour weeks, missed weekends, and performance reviews that always ended with, "You're doing great, we'll revisit compensation next" cycle, his manager finally said the words he had been waiting for. A $15,000 raise, effective immediately. He sat in his car in the parking garage for 10 minutes. Before driving home, he called his girlfriend. He called his mom. He opened his banking app and just stared at his salary figure, now updated in the system, like it might disappear if he looked away. That night, they went to the nicest restaurant in their neighborhood. Alex ordered the steak. He told the waiter to bring a bottle of wine without asking the price. He felt, for the first time in years, like he had made it. That was 14 months ago. Last week, Alex sat at his kitchen table at midnight, calculator open, trying to figure out why he had $340 in his checking account. 11 days before payday, he was earning $15,000 more than he was 14 months ago. He had not made any dramatic financial mistakes, no medical emergencies, no job losses, no gambling, no single catastrophic decision he could point to and say, that was it. That was where it went wrong. The money had simply disappeared, absorbed into a life that had quietly, invisibly, automatically expanded to consume every dollar of the raise before he had even decided how to spend it. Alex had not made a financial mistake. He had fallen into the oldest and most invisible trap in personal finance. And the worst part is that the system was designed specifically to make sure he would. My name is Bobby, and I spend too much time thinking about why earning more money so often fails to produce the financial security it promises. If you have ever received a raise, a promotion, or an income increase, and found yourself 6 months later wondering where it went, this video will show you exactly what happened. What I am about to show you is not a budgeting tip or a savings hack. It is a documented, psychological, and economic mechanism that extracts wealth from people the moment their income increases so efficiently and so invisibly that most people never realize it is happening until they are decades into a career, earning more than they ever imagined and still living paycheck to paycheck. Here is the fundamental thing you need to understand about income and lifestyle. The relationship between earning more and having more is not automatic. It is not even likely, because the moment your income increases, a force called lifestyle inflation activates. And it is not a character flaw, a lack of discipline, or a failure of willpower. It is a documented, psychological response to perceived abundance that operates almost entirely below the level of conscious decision-making. Lifestyle inflation is not one big decision. It is 1,000 small ones that each feel completely reasonable in isolation. After the raise, Alex did not decide to become a different kind of spender. He decided to move to a slightly nicer apartment only, $300 more per month, completely reasonable given his new income. He decided to lease a newer car only, $180 more per month. He deserved something reliable. He started ordering lunch instead of bringing it. Only $12 a day. He was busy, and it saved time. He upgraded his gym membership, only $40 more per month. His health was worth investing in. He started buying better wine, better coffee, better everything, because he could now, and because every individual upgrade felt proportional to his new income level. None of these decisions felt excessive. None of them were irrational in isolation. But add them up, and Alex had committed $1,847 in new monthly expenses within 90 days of his raise. His raise had added $1,250 to his monthly take-home after taxes. He was now spending $597 more per month than he was earning in additional income from the raise he had worked 3 years to get. He was not just failing to save the raise. He was going backwards every month, silently, automatically, without a single conscious decision to do so. Here is why this happens with such predictable regularity. Psychologists call the underlying mechanism hedonic adaptation, the documented tendency of humans to return to a baseline level of satisfaction, regardless of what changes in their circumstances. When you get a raise, the initial euphoria is real and intense, but it fades within weeks. And once it fades, your new income level simply feels normal. And normal feels like the minimum acceptable standard. And anything below the new normal starts to feel like deprivation, even if it is exactly how you were living 6 months ago when you were perfectly content. This is the trap inside the trap. The raise gives you genuine happiness for approximately 6 weeks. After that, the new income level is your new baseline, and you are back to wanting more, needing more, feeling like what you have is not quite enough. The happiness did not scale with the income, but the spending did, and it will continue to do so with every subsequent raise unless you understand the mechanism and deliberately intervene. Studies confirm this pattern with brutal consistency. A landmark study published in the journal Psychological Science found that emotional well-being does not increase with income above approximately $75,000 per year, a finding that has been extensively debated but consistently replicated in various forms. More recent research from Matthew Killingsworth at the University of Pennsylvania found that well-being does continue to rise with income, but at a dramatically diminishing rate. The first $30,000 of income produces enormous gains in life satisfaction. The difference between $100,000 and $200,000 produces a fraction of that impact. Yet, the spending associated with a $200,000 income is often double the spending at $100,000. The financial sacrifice scales with income. The happiness does not. And here is the mechanism the system uses to ensure your lifestyle expands to meet your income before you can do anything else with it. The moment your salary increases, your social reference group shifts. The colleagues you compare yourself to, the neighborhoods you consider acceptable, the restaurants that feel normal, the cars that feel appropriate, all of these recalibrate upward automatically. You are no longer comparing yourself to who you were. You are comparing yourself to the people at your new income level, and those people have already captured their raises in lifestyle upgrades. The social pressure to match their standard is invisible but relentless. You are not consciously trying to keep up with anyone. You are simply trying to feel like you belong in the world. Your income now technically qualifies you for. This is why Alex upgraded his apartment. Not because his old apartment had failed him, because his old apartment suddenly felt inconsistent with who he now was. This is why he leased the newer car. Not because his old car stopped working, because his old car started to feel like a signal that he had not actually arrived. Every lifestyle upgrade was not a financial decision. It was an identity decision. And identity decisions are almost impossible to make rationally, because they are not driven by logic. They are driven by the deeply human need to feel like you belong where you are. Now let me show you the lifetime math of the salary trap, because this is where the financial impact becomes genuinely devastating. Take two people with identical starting salaries of $50,000, both receiving identical raises of $10,000 every 3 years over a 30-year career, reaching a final salary of $150,000. Person A captures every raise in lifestyle. Each $10,000 raise produces $8,000 in new annual expenses within the first year. They always feel like they are living appropriately for their income. They are always slightly stretched. They retire at 65 with a comfortable lifestyle and approximately $180,000 saved. Person B keeps their lifestyle at the level established by their second raise and invests every subsequent income increase. They live well. They are not depriving themselves, but they do not upgrade their apartment. Every time their salary grows, they do not lease a newer car every 3 years. They do not inflate their daily spending to match their new income level. They invest the difference instead. Person B retires with approximately $2.3 million. Same career, same salary progression, same starting point. The only difference is whether the raises were captured by lifestyle or by investment. The salary trap does not just cost you the raise, it costs you what the raise could have become. And compound interest means that cost grows exponentially with every passing year you spend upgrading your lifestyle instead of your net worth. So what do you actually do? The solution is not to stop enjoying your income. It is to create a system that moves faster than lifestyle inflation. The moment a raise is confirmed, before the money appears in your account, automate the investment. If you get a $10,000 raise, set up an automatic investment of $700 per month. Before you ever see the additional take-home pay, your lifestyle will inflate around whatever lands in your checking account. Make sure the checking account receives less than the raise. The lifestyle will follow. The second action is to audit your expenses 6 months. After every income increase, list every recurring cost that did not exist before the raise. Calculate the total. Then ask yourself honestly, has each of these upgrades produced happiness proportional to its cost? For most people, the honest answer reveals that the apartment upgrade and the car upgrade produced 6 weeks of satisfaction and 18 months of financial pressure. The math rarely justifies the decision in retrospect, but prospectively, every upgrade felt completely reasonable. The audit breaks the illusion. The third action is to redefine what the raise is for. Most people treat a raise as permission to live differently. The salary trap closes the moment you accept that permission. Treat every raise as investment, capital first and lifestyle upgrade budget second. Decide in advance what percentage of every income increase goes directly to building wealth before lifestyle inflation can claim it. Financial advisors commonly recommend capturing at least 50% of every raise in savings or investments before allowing any lifestyle adjustment. This single rule, applied consistently across a career, is the mathematical difference between person A and person B. Alex is not a cautious spender. He is the perfect outcome of a system designed to ensure that income growth translates into consumption growth rather than wealth growth. He worked 3 years for a raise that made him poor, not because he was irresponsible, because nobody explained to him that the raise would arrive with an invisible bill attached, a bill called lifestyle inflation that would silently collect every dollar he earned before he had decided what to do with it. Your next raise is coming. The system is already waiting for it. The only question is whether you will be waiting too. If this changed how you think about your next income increase, share it with someone who just got a raise and does not yet understand what is about to happen. And subscribe, because our next video exposes another trap that is quietly draining your wealth right now. One you almost certainly have not noticed yet.